Hello everyone. Welcome to Confessions Jury, where people put themselves on the spot, waiting for your judgment. Sit comfortably and listen carefully, as you're about to hear today's cases. You hold the hammer and you apply the law. Let us have your verdict down in the comments section. As always, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Let's head on to our first case. Case 1. Am I the bad person for telling my ex's sterile affair partner to have her own daughter if she wants to share cheerleading with one? My ex, 44M, cheated on me, 40F, and ended our marriage so he could be with his affair partner/wife Jen, 42F. This happened several years ago when our kids were very young. My ex gets our kids 6 days a month. He works out of state frequently, so this was the most consistent schedule where our kids would be with a parent, me or ex, instead of being left with a babysitter or his wife. According to my ex and Jen, she is sterile and can never have kids. I never asked, but they offered this up in hopes I would share the kids with her more and encourage them to embrace Jen as their second mom. I have not done this, and I have told them we are not friends and they are not to expect favors from me after going behind my back and doing what they did. Jen was someone I knew before learning the truth. She was dating someone in my ex's friend circle and made a point to get to know me. I found out why after. She was expecting us being friends would help me not to hate her afterward. I bring all this up because of what's currently going on. Jen was a big cheerleader in her youth and volunteers with local cheer groups. She wants my daughter, 10, to get involved in cheer. My daughter told me about it the other week because Jen was trying to make her go and my ex was backing Jen on it. She told me she didn't want to and she needed my help. All the kids are aware of the fact stuff like that has to be agreed on by both me and their dad. I reached out and told my ex our daughter will not be put into cheer against her will and that he needs to stop pressuring her to join. He didn't respond back the way he's supposed to, through app, so I noted his reply on the app and got a lot of cussing back. Jen tried to call me, but I didn't answer. She approached me a few days later while we were in the same store and she told me I can't keep punishing her by depriving her of my children. She said she's been in their lives since they were little and she has every right to bond with them and share stuff with them like that. I told her she does not get to force my kids into stuff like that against their will. I walked away and she followed me around for a bit and told me how it was her dream to share cheer with a daughter and all the crap that I don't care about. I told her she should have a daughter of her own if she wants to share it and leave mine alone. She stopped following me after that, and I heard from ex a few times after saying I was cruel to say that to her when I know she can't have children. Am I the bad person? What do you guys think? Lay down your ruling in the comments section and let's move on to our next story. Case 2. Am I the bad person for not freeing up my husband's expenses to help pay for her wedding? I come from a conservative Pakistani community. It is tradition to get married to your husband and move in with his family, which usually is the parents, your husband, and any sister-in-laws and brother-in-laws. I had several problems with my mother-in-law not treating me well, and I had my husband go talk to her about all the problems. My sister-in-law got wind of it. This all went down in January of last year, and I understand that she's very protective of her mom, as I am with my own mom, but her mom was in the wrong for many things. For example, I caught his mom listening to conversations in the basement when I was talking to my family. I don't know if she knows the specifics of everything her mom did, but she just automatically assumed that I was in the wrong because, in her own words, I know mom and she wouldn't do any bad things. She's 21 years old. She started treating me like absolute shit after that. I lived in that house and I would come downstairs from my bedroom and I would try to talk to her and she would ignore me or be very rude to me. For a full year. One thing that you don't do in our culture is exclude people from gatherings, and unfortunately that happened to both my husband and I. There were family gatherings and we accidentally walked into them, not knowing what was happening. Completely hidden from us, and she was involved in hiding it from us as well. My MIL and FIL were out of the country, so I think they thought they could get away with it, but unfortunately, my husband and I accidentally showed up on a regular visit to someone's house and literally walked into the gathering. She is currently engaged and to be married by the end of year, and I know that her parents are struggling to pay for her wedding. I'm not telling my husband to withhold money. In fact, I'm telling him that to give whatever leftover money we have after he pays the mortgage. We moved out after all of this, and bills. But AITA for not freeing up more expenses in order to pay for her wedding? Truly, I don't care what her wedding turns out to be like after I was miserable for a full year because of her. Theoretically, I could contribute more towards the bills so that my husband has more money to give for her wedding, but that's just not something I want to do. Culturally, the husband is supposed to take care of the bills, and he's perfectly fine with it, and is supposed to help her with the wedding. But basically, I'm not going above and beyond to change my habits so there's more money for her. Am I the bad person? What do you guys think of this one? Let us know in the comments section, and let's move on to our next story. Case 3. Am I the bad person for telling my deadbeat father's wife and daughter to leave me alone? My dad walked out on me and my mom when I, 19M, was a baby. He didn't pay child support, didn't ever see me, didn't show up at court at any point, and he never reached out to me. I always had questions about him, but my mom was always way too nice about it until I turned 18 and she laid it all out for me. She even showed me the file she had for court that showed all the times he didn't show, how much money he owed, the fact she chased after child support for years, but he always found a way to avoid paying. For 6 years she tried to chase him through court until she gave up the fight and let the debt compile because it was costing her money and was taking from her ability to support us. He was the truest definition of a deadbeat. And I have nothing good to say and no interest in establishing a relationship of any kind. In September, I got a friend request from this woman on Facebook. We had no friends in common, so I ignored it. Then I rejected it. She sent it again, and so I accepted because I found it weird. A day later, a request came from a girl, and I rejected that, but just like the other account, she sent it again. I saw they were friends, so I left it ignored. Then a DM came from the account I had accepted the request from. Turns out this was my deadbeat father's wife and oldest daughter. They wanted to find me because they felt I should know my family and how I was now old enough to decide for myself. I told them I wasn't interested and to please leave me alone. I unfriended the wife and blocked both accounts and went private. But my Facebook is linked to my Instagram, and the daughter tried to reach me there. She said I didn't know the truth and deserved it, and how she and her siblings always wanted to know their older brother, and how her whole family were hoping we could all come together as a family. I blocked her there and ignored it. The daughter found another account of mine on another platform and has pestered me there ever since. It's constant new accounts, and I have reported some. I tried replying once more saying I'm sorry she got her hopes up, but I'm not interested. The next day I had messages from both mother and daughter saying my mom was the reason I didn't know my deadbeat father and how she was abusive and awful and he had to leave and he hated walking away, but she was dangerous and awful to be around and I deserved to know the kind of thing I was raised by, and yeah, his daughter called my mom a thing. I responded that they were making a lot of accusations and defending him so much, but he left me with a supposedly abusive mother and made no attempt to save me from it in 19 years, and that it tells me all I need to know about that man. I said once again they needed to leave me alone and I wasn't going to have a relationship with any of them. I thought they were finally going to leave me alone. But then before Christmas I got a long message from the two of them that basically gave me this sob story of a man who loved me but feared my life would be worse if he stayed and I'd be abused worse, and how he hoped my mom would abuse me less if he wasn't around. I didn't even address the rest. I told them to leave me the fuck alone before I go to the police for harassment, and I told them I would if they pushed it. The wife flipped out on me and said how dare I speak to them in such an abusive way, and clearly I'm my mother's son. She told me I should be ashamed speaking to a teenager that way who did nothing but try to love me. She is so pissed that I had to turn my phone off because I kept getting notified of all these messages, and I tried to stop them contacting me there, but the feature to stop them seems to be wonky on my account. I did go to the police, but I need to keep all of them going forward to make a case for anything. What I had wasn't enough. So yeah. Am I the bad person? You've sat down, you've listened. Now, it's time to state your ruling. What is it gonna be? Let us have it down in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more cases like these. In life, we may run, but we can never hide from true justice. Stay safe, everyone.